Hello, everyone. I'm joined here by the Accessimingos, the newest official supporters group for Madison FC. Guys, can you all introduce yourselves?
I'm Brian Messman.
I'm Engel.
I'm Bill Schultz.
Perfect. Well, it's a real honor and a pleasure to have you guys forming our newest supporters group. So I've got you here to ask you a little bit more about Accessimingos, how the group came together and why.
I had started thinking about a supporter group for people with disabilities to be able to support the club because Tyler, Bill, and I were pretty much at every game that original season. And so we, got to know each other, and, we had sat next to each other right at that end line, right by the goal. And we had kind of formed a bond of, some friendship and stuff like that going on. And I thought, we wanted to be part of the flock and kind of not only just be a part of the flock, but, help kind of lead the flock, and also to kind of help out other people with disabilities who might want to come to the games, but either may not know anybody who is going to the games, and so maybe they're not comfortable just going by themselves, or also they might not know that the stadium's, what the accessibility of the stadium was, and how accommodating the people in the flock are to people with disabilities. So the night of the end of the year gala, Tyler, Bill, and I were sitting at the same table.
That was in 2019, right?
2019, yes. And I just kind of proposed the idea to them, and they were on board immediately. And so we kind of started the formation and started talking.
Tyler, can you talk about through last year what the process was like in forming the group and how it really started to come together?
Yeah, I think we chatted online pretty frequently, and then a few times in person, and it took, a few chats to, write down what we, write down what we really wanted to do and what we wanted to accomplish with this group. And yeah, like Brian said, I think the main goal is to make sure Madison games are inviting and accessible to everyone who will want to attend, and help out in any way that we can to make that happen.
You talk about writing down the goals of the group. What are those goals that you came up with, if you don't mind elaborating on what you just said?
One of the things would be just to let people know the accessibility of the stadium, where to go for. One of the things that we wanted to do is kind of be kind of a point group in a way for accessibility issues. So if somebody was having any issues with either getting around, finding an accessible restroom, or whatever, we could, we wanted to be able to make sure that people knew where that was. Plus, we knew how Forward Madison was very much accepting, things that we were doing or wanting to do, and that you were open to a lot of the things that we've talked about in the past and requests that we've had. So,
Bill, since you got back on, I wanted to ask you, what was your role in forming the Accessimingos, and how do you see the group moving forward throughout this year? Its first year of, real existence.
Hopefully my internet connection holds up here, guys. Let me know if I start cutting out on you. I think my role in getting this started was the same as Brian and Tyler. I mean, the three of us tend to find ourselves sitting next to each other in flock end more often than not. And through shared experience and conversations that we had with one another, like, we wanted that experience to be shared by more people, and soccer is a game for everyone. And as folks, three individuals with disabilities, we've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed our time supporting Forward Madison at Breeze Stevens immensely. And I think what it looks like this year, you know, unfortunately, as we exist post-apocalypse, we don't know yet maybe what we'll be able to do, but ideally we just want to get more supporters with disabilities to the games. And if we can do that by creating this organization and connecting with fans that have disabilities and showing them that this is a game that can be enjoyed by everyone, and that we've had such an incredible experience, the three of us enjoying together, we want to do that. So hopefully that's getting more disabled fans in the stands at Breeze Stevens. If it isn't, then, you know, we find other ways to connect those people with the club and hopefully create, you know, we're excited to be the first disabled supporters group, but what I think will be most valuable is if we're able to really create a disabled supporters culture around this club. I think that's what I would be most proud of, if we were able to do that.
What do you think a disabled supporters culture looks like?
I think the first thing valuable is if we're a disabled supporters culture around this club. That I mean, supportive of its supporters. Everything that Brian, Tyler, and myself have come to at this club as individuals and said, hey, you know, we can make the stadium and specifically the flock end more inviting and more accessible if we do this little thing. And from Connor all the way on down, everybody's been 100% open, and not just open, but like wanted to make those improvements and said, you know, why aren't we doing this? So I think, what does a disabled supporters culture look like? It starts with physical accessibility, and that's to everything from, you know, Brian, Tyler, and I who use wheelchairs, to starting to talk about supporters who might have visual or hearing impairments, or supporters who maybe have sensory disabilities, where we need to start thinking about how we can involve them in games, whether that's physically or otherwise. I mean, I think what it looks like is to be determined, but having a club that's open to letting that culture organically become, you know, whatever it's going to be, I think is what's most exciting to me. So I don't know what it looks like, but we're excited to create it.
Can you talk about some of those improvements that you'd like to see in stadiums, not just here, but across the country, that make it more accessible for disabled supporters?
Yeah, and then
I'll let one of these guys take that one.
Well, I think, you know, starting out at Breeze, you know, we can look at the improvements that we need to make at Breeze, and actually, you know, talk to you, Jason, and Connor, and, you know, obviously we want to involve Forward Madison in the discussions, but also not only that, disabled culture amongst the supporter group itself, I think it's just more of having the flock be more aware of individuals with disabilities. In everybody that I know, everybody that we know from the flock are very open to this. They're excited about this new supporter group, and, you know, only through what we are going to be learning about, you know, expanding our own understanding of disabilities from other types of disabilities, like Bill was mentioning, that we personally don't have the experience with, is only going to foster more inclusivity amongst the flock, and then amongst, you know, the flock and Forward Madison. So we're excited about the possibilities of where this can go.
You know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be finding out about this, both disabled and not, and wondering how they can get involved or how they can help. What would you tell those people who want to do more after hearing about this?
I mean, I'd say just reach out to any one of us, ask us questions or how can we make this more accessible. If you want to learn more about disability, it's always good to ask people. No one really gets offended when you ask questions, and if you don't know, yeah, I think just reaching out and communicating is the biggest thing.
Brian or Bill, what advice would you have to people who want to like get involved?
I was just going to kind of parrot what Tyler said, and that, hey, reach out to us. You know, we've got, and what Bill was kind of just saying is we've got a Facebook page. We got a Twitter page. You know, reach out to us. Bring us any questions you have. I would also say when we are able to have in-person fans at games, if you know of anybody who's got a disability, bring them out. You know, invite them out to the game. You know, in the supporters section, you know, it can seem like it might get a little wild with the chanting and singing and stuff like that. But I remember one person that all three of us know. Her name's Annie. She's one of the people. She actually helped with the wording of the logo for us. She came to a game. She's also in a wheelchair. And she sat in one of the accessible seats in the another section of the stadium. But when after the game, I had talked to her, and she said, "You know, next time I come to a game, I want to sit in the supporter group section because it looked a lot more fun." And so, yeah, we want people to come. We want to be open and inviting. We want people to not be afraid to come and join us, or even if they just want to be in another part of the section or stadium, please come. We want to, you know, just share our love of soccer with other people who have disabilities who also might like the game.
Yeah, I remember during that 2019 year, you were sort of in the supporter section and up against the touchline. I know they're starting to install new ramps on the capo stands as well. So that'll, I mean, it's hopefully about like giving you more ways to get involved as a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you're on Facebook and you're on Twitter. If people want to reach out to you, it's, you know, like at Accessimingos, I think, for both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to piggyback off what Brian's saying, like to back up just a little bit, you had a question about how people can get involved.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that Brian, Tyler, and I kind of agree on is we would love to have some help with social media. So if there's anybody who's social media savvy that wants to like get involved, we'd love to have somebody kind of doing that for us. The other thing is, as we get ready for this big launch announcement, which I think most people will be watching this interview once we announce that big launch, we have an Accessimingos merch item that you can purchase. It's a summer scarf, which is very, very cool. And all of the proceeds from that go towards either promoting disabled soccer or getting more disabled fans in the stands at a soccer game. So that's another way folks can help out if they're looking to get involved in some quick cause.
Is there anything in this interview that I've missed, or anything that you feel like we should really mention, people should know about?
Well, I guess from my perspective, and people being a person with a disability, kind of reaching out to those who are kind of nervous about coming to a game, or nervous about coming and joining us in the flock section, maybe because you feel like you don't know anybody. That's how I was my first game. The Snowmageddon game. I didn't know anybody really, and I just showed up. And because I showed up and continued to show up, I got to meet some great people and have become friends with a lot more people because of that, and have been able to enjoy the game I love in the city that I call home. So this is really exciting to me. I know it's exciting to Bill and Tyler as well, to be able to reach out to more people with disabilities, to make them feel more welcome to Breeze and join us for future games.
Well, I'm hoping that we can add even more people to the Accessimingos family this year, that we can welcome even more people into the Forward family as a whole. We'll keep our fingers crossed and keep our masks on for now, but I think it's going to be a good year for us.
Hoping so, yes.